harmless. But if we were to say, are sharks in general dangerous or in general harmless? In general, they're harmless, because there's about 100 bites worldwide by sharks. There's over 500 species of sharks. So, even if each bite would have been, done by a different species, there's still 400 plus species that have never bitten anyone. And in reality, it's probably about 10 or so species that have been implicated in bites. And keep in mind that some of those bites were on fishermen. They catch a shark, pull it into a boat, and try to take a hook out of the mouth. Well, if you do that and don't have steel mesh gloves on, you kind of deserve to get bit, because that shark is going to bite you. But like I said, the vast majority of them are completely harmless. So here we have a leopard shark. What is this playing? What is going on? There we go. Technology is a wonderful thing. So here I'm approaching a leopard shark, also known as a zebra shark. These are common names for different kinds of sharks. So like a leopard shark in San Diego would look totally different than this leopard shark. And you saw, as I got closer to that animal, far from it trying to attack me, it just scrambled. And if sharks had tabloids, you know what that would have read the next day. Bubble-blowing monster attacked me, barely escaping my life. And they would be a lot more accurate, because humans kill anywhere from 30 to 270 million sharks a year. They bite about 100, and that includes the ones that, someone pulling a nurse shark out of a hole to get a better picture, and the nurse sharks whipping around and biting. So in reality, it's actually pretty difficult to get close to these animals. Here, we have a lemon shark, and that's about an 8-foot shark. And we're out, other than with white sharks, where we dive in very deep water, where we're not on the bottom, we don't use cages. So you'll see there's a lady right there. She has that aluminum pole. That's about the only protective measure that we have. And we use that mostly because when we're feeding the sharks, we're doing this out of a trash can that we just kind of tip and drop 1 or 2 tuna heads at a time. And if the sharks don't get it right away and one of these tuna heads drifts towards a diver, we don't want to reach up and grab that, so we use a metal pole to put this away, just in case the shark comes at the same time that we don't see, so that way we don't get bit in the hand because the shark wants the tuna. So, and they're just swimming around us, and they have no intention of coming after us. So I showed you the smallest shark. So now let's go to the biggest, because a lot of people think the bigger an animal is, the more dangerous it is. And this is the very first whale shark I've seen in my life. And being in the ocean and an animal approaching me, I just stay where I'm at, because everything will swim around me, with the exception of a whale shark. And that's why you see just white dots going by, because in the last moment I realized this shark will just swim right through me. It's not going to try to hurt me, it just doesn't care that I'm right in front of it. So I'm swimming backwards, and I'm inches away from this shark. But to give you an idea of how massively big this animal is, you see some divers in there, and those are not toy soldiers, those are fully grown divers. And this here, that's the mouth and that's the ear of the shark. So this massive animal actually has a much smaller eye than like a white shark. To give you an idea of the size and the girth of this shark, in just a second here, there's a guy reaching out to the pectoral fin of this shark, and that guy's 7 foot, and he has long free diving fins. So the diameter of that shark is more than 8 foot. So it's a massively big animal. The tail is roughly 15 feet tall, even though it was cut off at the top. So just a really, really big animal, and completely harmless to humans. They eat very, very small things. Like probably about the biggest thing they eat is a sardine. They also eat krill, those tiny crustaceans. And here we have, this is a smaller whale shark. And check this out, it has a mouth full of fish. Now that's not what the shark is eating. Those are remoras that are attached on the inside of the mouth of that shark, just hoping that when the shark is feeding, to get a free meal. And
Wow.
I don't know how this whale shark, that poor thing, is actually getting some food, because it looks pretty much like the whole mouth is full of those remoras. And even on the outside, there's remoras. And you see, that shark has no teeth. And if you would swim into the mouth of that shark, you would get stuck. You could not get into the stomach. The trachea is way too small. So this shark could not hurt you if it tried. The only way to get hurt by a whale shark is to somehow get between the tail and the heart thing when the shark is moving the tail. But typically they're moving so slow with their tails that even there you wouldn't really get hurt. This is another shark that often gets confused as a white shark. It's a basking shark. And you see this, if you're on Facebook or on TikTok, there's so many videos where someone says, oh, we've seen a 40-foot white shark. I swear it's a white shark. You can see the white on the belly. It's swimming right next to the boat. No, it's a basking shark. And the easiest way to tell is, for one, they swim really slow. They have a huge mouth. But just like the whale shark, they eat plankton, krill, small animals, completely harmless to humans. But to give you an idea of how the media treats this and how headlines can be completely deceiving, there was a headline in a Scottish newspaper that said, "The time to panic is now, 40-foot shark seen off the coast of Scotland." And the very first sentence in the first paragraph said, oh, there's no reason to panic, it's a basking shark. But the headline said the exact opposite. And that's actually something that no matter what the subject is, don't get your information from headlines. Because headlines are just designed to get you to read an article. And often they say the exact opposite just to get you to say, no, that can't be, and reading the article. So don't believe what headlines say. But again, this shark is often confused as a great white shark, especially if the mouth is not open, because when the mouth is just slightly open, when you look down on it, the white inside of the mouth looks like the white on the belly of another shark. And so people think, oh, if it's a white on the belly, it's a white shark, which is not how we identify the sharks. Another way to identify a basking shark is to have a completely rounded dorsal fin. White shark has a pointed dorsal fin. So, but let's look at the sharks that are implicated in bites on humans. So, before I get started, really, I cannot emphasize enough how hard it is to get close to these animals. So before I show you this video, I gotta tell you what we were doing there. So this is in St. Martin, and we tried to establish a shark dive there. So we put a metal bait box out there to get the sharks to come to that area. And we go out periodically to see, what's swimming around. After doing this for about 4 months or so, we went out, we stuck our face in the water, and we saw tiger sharks swimming around the bait box. We were like, wow, great, finally. So we took a bunch of, bait, went down, 45, 50 minutes, nothing. We go back up, we do our safety stop at 15 feet, we look down, tiger sharks swim around the bait box. It watched us the entire time but did not come close. So the video I'm going to show you, I cut out the first half.